Time tracking, payroll, all of those things are very complicated things to do. One of the most common mistakes we see people do is they try to do it themselves, like with a spreadsheet. If your business grows and you end up, like most businesses do, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 people, and you're still trying to use spreadsheets and not use a system, that ends up in a really bad place. You don't have audit logs for history. You don't have compliance. You don't have transparency a lot of times. So you lack all of these modern features where, you choose a system like us and like everything's right here in your phone. That's probably the biggest mistake, is they're either choosing the wrong system, not choosing a system at all, or they're trying to like leverage a spreadsheet or a Word doc or a Google doc to run their business. And that never turns out well.
You have found Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Downloadable audio episodes can be found in the podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie, Calls on Call Extraordinary Answering Service, as well as the Bold Business Book. And today we're welcoming / preparing to learn from Dean Mathews from On the Clock. So Dean, how is it going today?
It is going wonderful, James. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to chat with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you for a few reasons. One, you've been in business seemingly forever, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And the other is you seem to be pretty people-centric, which is great, and I'm going to dare say rare. And on top of that, you run a service, the timekeeping system. I guess that my gosh, when I was looking for a timekeeping system forever ago, it was bizarre to me how few options I found that actually could do all of the things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not asking for a rocket ship to the moon or anything. I'm just literally asking to keep track of employees' hours. That's all I want.
Yeah.
So how about you? Let's just start from the very beginning, right back at the dawn of time.
Dawn of time.
When did you get started with On the Clock?
Yeah. So I'll give you the quick rundown. So I'm kind of I guess you call it a quote unquote serial entrepreneur, if you will. Quite a few startups, businesses, side projects, passion projects throughout the years. But with On the Clock back in like the mid 2000 era, I had several projects, passion projects going on. On the Clock was one of them. I'm always looking for problems that I can solve. So this is the kitchen story, or the kitchen table story. This was late 2003-ish, so like 20-some years ago now. Sitting at the kitchen table, looking through forums, business forums. Remember those?
Yeah.
Business, small business, accounting forums. And I saw this trend of all these small business owners and accountants in this forum just talking. I'm just looking for something simple, something like you just said that works well, something that can track my employees' time. And I want it online, and I want it easy, and I want it reliable. That was their two requests. So I was sitting there and I was reading that, and I'm like, I'm going to build that for them. So I'm also a software developer, or in a former life, I was a software developer. So I set out to build it. And pretty much within a couple months, we actually had On the Clock running. It was very simple, very bare bones. But it was up and running. Employees could clock in and clock out, and managers and admins could get time for payroll. And it was really just a passion project at that time, along with several others. And kind of fast forward to right around 10-ish years ago, it had just been kind of organically growing on its own. Like I said, it was more of a side project. But about that 10-ish years ago, Mark, really it started getting to the point to where I couldn't ignore it anymore. So decided to go all in with On the Clock, and wanted to just focus on one thing really, really heavily and put all my energy into it instead of half a dozen or a dozen different projects. So focused on that, and decided to turn it from a passion project to a real business. Got it into an LLC. My brother, Mark, was also interested in doing some of these things. So got him to come on board. And we hired our first employee, Samantha. She's still with us today. She's actually moved up a lot into the tier. She is now product owner, super proud of her. And so now we're sitting, there's 22 of us total. and we serve about 18,000 customers, mostly here in the United States. Yep,
18,000.
18,000. Yeah, it's crazy.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
That's a pool and a half.
yeah, it's yeah, two and a half pools. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
So
it's kind of crazy when you step back and look at it, and but it goes to show you, you put your effort and your time and your energy into something, and it can pay off. It can turn into something big. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Tell me a story. You were doing software before, you said.
Mm-hmm.
So were your other passion projects software based?
Almost all of them were, yes. So built a kind of like an online survey type tool, similar to like a Survey Monkey, where you could ask different surveys. Had a uh, database type tool where you could just create a database for anything you wanted to, contacts, customers, sales online. Started that one. Had another payments processing, a business to business payments processing, ACH type solution. Those are two or three of the ones that I started. There was a couple others as well. They kind of, some started, some really took off, some didn't, some just kind of floundered. But yeah, so I always had that entrepreneurial spirit, just wanting to do something big, just make a change, something I could
Yeah.
just stand on and, just be happy with. Yeah.
It's interesting. I had another guest on the show, I don't know, fairly recently, and he said, all we want to do is sell usernames and passwords.
Huh.
So I feel like you're in that world, which is it's a pretty good world to be in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me a story as far as the back end goes, because programming languages that were popular 20 years ago are not necessarily the same now. So has your platform shifted or had huge rewrites or anything over the course of the past couple decades?
Yeah, from a technology standpoint, the technology we wrote it in, 22, 3 years ago now, is an older technology, right? And it still worked, but you really have to keep up with the times. You can't just sit on these older technologies. Developers aren't versed in them anymore. They're inefficient, and the new technologies have so much more to offer for our customer experience. So we started a venture about 3 years ago ish, where we called it Move and Improve, where we pick off a couple pages, a couple screens at a time, and move those over to the new technology. So now, as of the turn of this year, there's just a couple little pieces we're picking up now, but we are going to be 100. We're about 99% moved over to the new technology now, and within the next couple weeks, we're actually going to be completely done with the conversion. It went really well. Took a little longer than expected, but we were able to move our product to the new platforms, new programming languages and such. And with that, all the benefits that come along with modern software development. So yeah, super excited about that, and super excited to be at the very, very end of that, and now be able to release new features, new things. We were releasing throughout the last couple of years, but not at the rate we want. So, mostly it was the move and improve section that we've been working on. But yeah, super pumped about that.
So you're having to keep track of 18,000 companies, employees, and PTO, and clock in and clock out while you're migrating all this stuff. Tell me about that transition.
Well, it takes a team, right? So, one of the things when I first started out back 20 years ago now, 20ish years ago, I was really of the mindset where I did not want a team. I had a kind of a very special viewpoint into companies and into their cultures, where one of my ventures was a software consultant. So I would go into a company. I had a few dozen companies here in the Metro Detroit area, and I would build inventory systems, MRP systems, accounting systems. I would build whatever they wanted. And I'm a friendly guy, so I got to really know a lot of people. I got to meet the people up front, the CEOs, CFOs, and such. And they're the ones that really hired me to build their software, 20 some years ago. And I also got to meet the people out back, right? The people that were running the software, running machines, or the people, the individual contributors that were using the program I built. And I saw this, I don't know what you call it. It's kind of like a real culture fight. The people up front thought all the people out back just were lazy and they just wanted to stay home all day. And didn't really want to work. And the people out back, were acquaintances of mine too. And they thought the people up front just played golf and were in meetings all day, right? They weren't doing anything. So in my mind, I formed this concept that I didn't want a team, but I was wrong. What I really wanted was, if I were to build a team without that type of culture. So really, when we started really building the team, 9, 10-ish years ago now, built that into the process, that we would have a culture that is based on people first, always doing good, getting big things done. And one big thing for me is that the people that I work with, I want them to really see the work that they're doing is actually helping people and is actually contributing to other people's lives and making that better. And really, at this point, we are basically at a 0% turnover rate with our team. We have a extremely high, like a 4.9 rating on our company and culture. And, we do a lot to maintain that. And so we built this team with intention, and it's really paid off.
Sure. What the 4.9? Where is that? I guess I don't understand the company culture.
Yeah. So there's a couple
that?
areas. I mean, you can definitely get it like a Glassdoor rating, for instance.
Oh, sure.
That's our team rating us. But
Sure.
internally, we have eNPS, where we're asking the team. I don't know if you're familiar with eNPS or not, but it's a rating system. It's basically, how would you recommend a family member or friend to come work at the company you're working at? And it's a 0 to 10, 10 being I would absolutely recommend them, 0 being I would not recommend them at all. And that's not a 1 to 5 rating scale, but we're definitely in the higher end of that. And our folks are telling us that this is a good place to work. So, taking all those ratings together, and we believe that we're doing good. Always, always, always want to do better, of course. So, I'm always trying to up my leadership skills, empower people, look for people's career advancements, and help them. So, yeah.
Tell me, you raised an interesting point, I guess, about the career advancement, because
Yeah.
I have a company that I'm going to call smaller as well, right? It's not like we're some 5,000 person company where you have layers and layers and layers. So
Mm-hmm.
when an employee or a potential employee reaches out or in an interview and they're like, what are the opportunities for advancement? And I'm like, we got a 2, maybe 3 rung ladder, and the third rung is you own it. So if you're interested in buying the company, let's
Yeah.
talk, kind of thing. So when you're talking about advancement in a company, you said you got 22 employees. I imagine
Yes.
you're in the same world, right? You don't have,
Oh, yeah.
it's not some 20 rung ladder or anything like that.
No, and it's really just tailored to the individual, right? So, we have a system in place where we have, of course, our like annual meets, but we have we call them quarterly connect and reflects. It's kind of like a mini annual every quarter, and we also do one-on-ones every 2 weeks. So every person at our company meets with their leader once every 2 weeks, and in a one-on-one, we talk about things that are a little more, not personal, but a little more personal than we would in front of everybody else. And we have a rating system in there too. But I also ask people to write down 3 goals for themselves, centered around kind of them and their career. If they're looking to move up in a position, or if they're looking for possibly to pursue some education. And then we take those and we bring them back and provide some level of accountability to the team member to try to help them move up those rungs if they want to, right? Not everybody wants to move up, and that's fine. But if you have the will to do it, we really view our company as a place where you can move up. For instance, John has been in customer support for a few years now, and he is now making a move up to a higher level customer success. So we had like an internal job offer basically, and he raised his hand, and now he got the job. And this is starting like right now. So I love seeing that type of stuff. And if we could help internally, great. We also will help, if you're looking to go to school, we have some funding available for that as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to the employee something, the EM. What did you call it?
eNPS, Net Promoter Score. Yeah, E is the employee, so Employee Net Promoter Score.
Gotcha. Okay. And is this something that you created or something you just bought into?
Oh no, our NPS, Net Promoter Score, has been around for probably decades. It's been around for a long time. Uh, it's used to really evaluate. It's kind of like a restaurant star rating, right? 1 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
If you rate a restaurant at 5, you're telling people to go there, that I recommend this place. 1, obviously the inverse. So I kind of look at it like that. But it's a scale of 1 to 10. Uh, 10 being I recommend that close friend or family member to come work at my company. And if you get that personal recommendation, if you're getting 9s and 10s, 8s, 9s, and 10s actually are pretty good. That's a clear signal that we're doing something right. So yeah, it's been around for a long time. Any listeners, I would highly recommend. It's also, you can use it for your customers too. We do it for our customers as well, where we ask them how at a 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend our product on the clock to a family member or friend? And that gives us a lot of feedback to drive our product in our company from a customer standpoint. But then you flip it around on the employee side, and that gives us the feedback we need to continue to build the culture, to improve the way we work, to improve our work environment, and just make it the best it can be.
Gotcha. Interesting from a culture point of view, I guess, from what I've seen both in the business that I run as well as just talking with other business owners.
Sure.
There's a lot of leadership that's pushing for culture, which is good. It's incredible because I don't necessarily know that even a decade or two ago that was really a thing.
It's definitely become a lot more hot. I think it's the newer generations coming in. They're, it's a little more, work and your pleasure time kind of like get combined a little bit, I found, and people are looking to really they're looking for more at work than just a 9 to 5. They're looking for some additional fulfillment, right? I mean, the reality is we're going to spend a huge portion of our life at work, probably, and a lot of times the majority of our time, waking hours at least. Why not make it enjoyable? All right. We shouldn't dread going to work. My goal is to make Monday as good as Friday. So, yeah.
So I guess I say that to say a lot of employees, just like you mentioned, some just aren't interested in growing. They're just, I'm going to dare say coast through the life that they've been given. But they're still doing okay. They're doing well, or ish. And they're doing well. They're probably giving you 7s, 8s, maybe even 9s, maybe even a 10 just because they don't want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
How do you weed through the people that are just giving you the high marks, even though like, is this really a 9? Or where are you really at?
Yeah, no, you're onto a really great point, James. I think the answer to that is really just knowing your team, right? So I relate a lot of things back down to that one-on-one meeting, to where they're the manager, the leader, I like to call them, really gets to know their team and care a bit about them. Also, when we bring a leader into the company, we're very selective on who we bring in that will lead other people. So I particularly, when somebody's coming in that is in a leadership position as opposed to an individual contributor position, am looking for values alignment. Are they going to fit our culture? Are they going to lead our people the way that we want and we believe that that people should be led? So it really starts at the door, right? We only let the right people in. So yeah.
Got it. Right on. And are there criteria that you put together right away when you started, or just over the course of time you come up and said, hey, wait, we need to have someone with this trait kind of thing?
Yeah. That's another really great question. For the most part, I would really back that up to our values. So we set our values probably about 7 years ago now. Your values they're not things you create, right? You don't invent them. They're things that you already have. So what I did about 8-ish years ago, I went around, we were smaller then, but I went around to everybody And I just really asked them, what do you love about working here? What do you hate about working here? What's important to you? And I got everybody's opinion, and I wrote everything down, and I wrote down, what's important to me. And this took about 3 months. This was not a quick process, but really took our time and really thought about it and was intentional about it, and came up with a set of 7 values. And really, those values are what we use as a criteria when we're bringing people into the company, particularly leadership people. So I'm looking for value alignment. Our very first one, passion for people. That's value number 1. If you are coming in and you're in a leadership position, it's a mandatory. It has to be there. That you're looking to help people and help them in their career. So it really starts, to answer your question, starts at the gate. Who you're going to let in.
Right on. Are the employees that you have, are they work from home or they work in an office?
So we're hybrid. Pretty much all but 2 are local to us, and maybe 3 or 4 they're a little less local. But we're in Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we're remote.
Gotcha.
And the people that are local will come in Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the people that are not local, we try to get them in at least once a year, preferably 2 or 3 times a year. Like for Christmas, Crystal came in from out of town.
Okay.
It was kind of rushed, but she was here for a day. I got to really meet her in person, so that was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, was that your first time meeting her in person?
In person, right? So,
Okay.
yeah. So she is our payroll manager. So she's a leader in the company. Had lots of video interviews with her and such, but yeah, that was the first time meeting her in person. Yeah.
Nice. So with people being hybrid, that's always a challenge. I guess I can tell you from the business, the main one that I run, everyone's work from home.
Mm-hmm.
So the great majority of my employees I've never actually met in person.
Mm.
Very, very few. So I don't even know what they look like from here down.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. Yeah. Sometimes go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just like you don't know their height. You don't know anything about really where they live other than looking at a map and being like, okay, or sending them equipment kind of thing. So I guess my point there is they are interacting with other employees that it's the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the personality that you see is this much of the entire iceberg kind of thing.
It is.
So shifting a little bit with what you guys do, you got the sales side, you have the leadership management side, but you also have programmers. Mm-hmm. And some of those are going to be very different personalities.
Correct. Yes. So
I guess I'm wondering if they have to interact, and if they do interact, how do those interactions go, or how do you make sure that they go well?
No, great question. So we have, as far as interactions, we meet just like any other company, right? So we have scheduled meets that are not set in stone, but they're ones that like we have a monthly all hands meeting. We have other meetings where everybody's involved, in particular, leadership type people. So we're meeting every week, sometimes once a month on different things. And the one-on-one, again, I'm going back to that a few times, but the one-on-one is really one of those critical meetings that I believe every company with every team member should have. And that's a place where you can really learn about your person, learn about the person you're leading, and dive deeper. So we encourage our leaders to really show a little personal care for your person, right? I mean, it's the HR, human resources. I hate that term, right? Humans are not resources; they're people, right? So, really, I think just from just a culture, a values perspective, we are just asking for our people to really put out their heart. Let's care a little bit, but also we're selecting the people before they even come in the door to make sure they fit that bill.
What are some of the criteria? I guess better question would be, what are some of the questions that you ask people in these one-to-ones to get a feel for what's going on? I imagine you can't just meet them and just be like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
There's got to be some thing to trigger a conversation.
It is. So what we do is, in those one-on-ones, for instance, one of my questions, and you ask it differently depending on the situation, but it's like, how are you really?
Mm.
Really, how are you? Is everything going okay? Sometimes you have to ask some open questions. Maybe I'll notice last week, maybe there was an interaction that I noticed between two people that maybe looked a little heated. Maybe there was a little, passive aggressiveness. So I'll let a little time pass. And, if I see it again, if I start to see a pattern, I might say to that person, hey, I noticed a couple times looks like there might be this little thing growing here, or something brewing. Tell me about it. What is it? Let's just get it out in the open and get it settled before it becomes something bigger. And for the most part, once people get to know you and they realize that they can trust you, people will be open. They want to tell you what's going on. But I think in America, we have this business culture where like your personal life stops at the door, and you leave all your personal stuff behind. And I really don't believe in that, because you're a person. You bring your whole self to work. You really are. So let's just talk about it, be open about it, and acknowledge it. That's really my answer to that.
Yeah, I would completely agree. The interesting part, I guess the challenging part that I have or that I see is that what's legal to delve into on the personal side and stuff like that. So it's not that I'm not interested in learning about their personal life and if there's any way that we can help them or anything like that. It's I don't want to get in trouble for even asking the question. Yeah. So it's a very tight rope to walk.
No, you are 100% correct. And you really do need to have an understanding of the laws and regulations that surround that. But I think a lot of it's really just common sense, right? You don't ask specific personal questions. You just open the door, and if somebody wants to talk, never force anybody, of course, never would do that.
Right.
But we just provide a safe environment. Psychological safety is a big one, where the person can feel comfortable if they want to talk about, something, a problem they're having at home, or my dog died, whatever it might be. It's okay to talk about that a little bit. Of course, we're not prying. We don't want to know your personal business, but if you're struggling with something and you need to talk, let's talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting trying to keep that balance of business side growth, keep the team going, keep the people happy, the clients, the employees, all that jazz, keep the systems rolling, but also taking the time to have an open door, essentially. So you can
it does. Listen. It has to be intentional.
Yeah.
But again, if somebody is not of that mindset, typically they're not going to get in the door here. So, that's
right on.
That is a big prerequisite.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit from your management style. Is this something that you learned how you don't want to do it from previous jobs, or how did you learn the basics of what you built here with On the Clock?
No, great question. So a lot of it goes back to, I'm relatively a people person. So I talk to people, I like to talk. But a lot of it goes back to those interactions I had when I was a consultant for these companies. My previous life, when I was a software developer writing these softwares for different people, I got to meet the people up front and the people out back, if you will. And, because I'm a people person and I'm relatively friendly with people, people tend to always open up around me. That it happens all the time. And I got to really see what was happening from really an unbiased viewpoint in a lot of ways. And I could see those negative interactions, and I saw how they were just, one or two little negative things can really just corrupt a whole system. And I saw them happening there. And honestly, James, sometimes I, as their software developer or consultant, sometimes became the mediator. It was crazy. They would. Yeah, no, they would bring me in and ask me, you seem to be pretty good around these guys, tell me what's going on. And I've actually a few times unofficially stepped in as a people consultant. It's kind of interesting. It was fine, but we helped them out, and I helped them out, and it was good. Yeah. Nice. Interesting stuff.
On your biography on the website, you mentioned your favorite book is Scaling. Can you tell me a little bit about that book?
Yeah, so it's Claire Hughes. She was the COO of Stripe. Stripe, the big payments processor.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Um,
Tough not to
she
go Stripe if you're in business, right?
Yeah, 100%. So this was, I think this was like 8 or 10 years ago, something like that, when she was there. But she came in as a seasoned business person, COO, effectively to kind of babysit these young entrepreneurs. So she wrote the
Okay.
story, which is a great book. It kind of reads like a textbook in a lot of ways, but I don't mind textbooks. Um, so she goes in and she talks about all of these systems that she put in place to really scale people. Right? That was the title of the book, and she talks about one thing that we adopted from her. It's called the operating system. So her operating system was kind of like an SOP on how we run people, how we run the quote HR unquote side of the company. And I took quite a few lessons from that book. And probably the biggest one was building what we call our OS, our operating system. And, in that operating system, it's a slide deck, a Google slide, a presentation. And in there, we have anything from our vision, our mission, our culture, our values. We have job descriptions and people. And one of the things that I really liked that she did, and which I've done as well, is I've created a working with me doc. And my working with me doc tells people like how I like to work together or how I like to work with you. For instance, I'm like a bullet points person. If I get paragraphs of text, I kind of like lock up and freeze. Um, and telling our people that, understanding that I communicate with bullet points, like really helps them to know how to work with me. And very similar, likewise, with a few of them, we've done that in inverses too, where they've had a working with me, and now I have a better insight how to work with them. So the operating system and the working with me docs were two really good lessons I took away from scaling people.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah.
So when you're saying operating system, this is different than the EOS from the book Traction and stuff like that.
Well, it's similar though. Yeah, that's a
Similar.
good book.
Okay.
I haven't made it way all the way through that book, but it's similar to that. Yeah. So
Okay.
EOS is kind of a version of that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
actually another really good book too, Traction.
Yeah.
Like I think I made about halfway through that last year, and I'll eventually get through it.
Right on. I suppose if you're like me, you have stacks of books and they
Oh yeah,
just keep plugging away. Take a
yeah.
nugget or two from each one and rinse and repeat.
I'm actually a listener. I listen to audiobooks more. I digest the information way better. But I typically will listen to the audiobook, but I'll always purchase the actual book. And I
Do
have
that as
them. I
well.
have kind of a library at work, if you will, that anybody can grab from, and people do. They grab those books and read them, and it's really cool. It's nice.
Yeah, I get that. I have the same thing where I'm at here.
Yeah,
I have a couple bookcases where people can just
yeah.
give and
There's a
take.
few in the background here, right here.
Yeah.
So, and this isn't my library. I'm at home right now, but we do
Sure.
have a little library at work.
Right on. Right on. I want to ask you from a sales point of view. You're in what I would consider to be a somewhat crowded space. I don't know if it was crowded 20 years ago, but I guess when we were shopping for a timekeeping system, there was no limit to the number of timekeeping systems that we stumbled upon. But just like any software, you had to dig to try to figure out, what does this one do? What does this one do? Does it do this and that and the other thing? So how do you market and differentiate yourself from the other timekeeping systems that are out there?
No, that's a really good point, and you are correct. There are lots of them out there, uh, dozens. You might even approach like hundreds at some, if depending on how you scope it out. But really, the couple differentiators with us are one, we've really built our system to be easy. Going back to those business and accounting forums that I was reading 20 years ago, they asked for a simple, reliable time tracking system. So I took those words to heart and we built it to be as simple and easy as possible. Like, for instance, with our system, you can sign up, get your team on board, and actually be using our system within a matter. We timed it once. It was like 4 minutes. You could
Oh,
actually
wow.
get
Oh,
going that
okay.
quick.
Nice.
Now you're not going to have everything built out in 4 minutes, but you could start using it. So easy is a big thing that we really focus on. Another big differentiator with us is that we have like an amazing support team. Like I'm talking like literally top notch. We answer the phone. If you call, you have a extremely high likelihood of somebody picking up the phone.
That's
um,
incredible.
oh yeah, we actually answer the line. Yeah, can you imagine that? So
Whoa. You're talking to a guy that's got a call answering service, so that's a huge deal. I appreciate you saying that.
yes, and our ratings for our support team are literally. When I say literally, I mean like 99% satisfaction rate. It's phenomenal. These guys and gals are amazing at their jobs.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's super
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, we get all the feedback from tickets, calls, all that, and that's all very close to 100% satisfaction.
Let's delve into the whole customer service aspect a little bit. Because I can tell you, yesterday I was calling a bank that I'm working with, and I have a call answering service, right? So I like to look on the timer on the phone to see how long does it take for me to actually get to a person,
Ah,
and from that point, how long does it take for my problem to get solved? And the problem, like I'm just trying to transfer money between accounts, whatever, and online wasn't
sure.
working. So, I mean, I think I was on the phone. I think it was 25 minutes. And I was like, and the last, whatever, 4 minutes, I actually talked to a
Yeah.
person. But the 20 minutes prior to that, you're pressing the digits and you're listening to the
Oh yeah.
recording. And then they're always telling you, we got a lot of people are calling us. Like they never say, not a lot of people are calling. So you're next in line.
Yeah.
So coming from that, which seems to be, I'm going to dare say the norm, almost to the point of being expected. And you got this thing where you're like, we answer the phone, we take care of you, which is what I feel it should be.
Of course. Yeah.
How, I guess, how do you get in that mindset versus what I imagine? I don't know for sure, but I'm going to speculate that a lot of your competition doesn't.
Yeah,
What,
actually, a lot of our top competitors actually don't offer support at all, which is, or they offer like
like
a
zero?
very limited amount of support.
All right.
They offer like an online forum you can go in and look.
Sure, you can
Uh,
talk with the other people that had the problems. I love how they do
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
their knowledge
You're talking to
base
your
is created
peers.
by their customers.
Everybody's just complaining about the same problems, right?
Yeah.
So, I think with us though, it really goes down to really just associating the fact that the person that you're chatting, emailing, talking to on the phone is an actual person, and that you're there to help them, and really just bringing that feedback full circle and letting people know that you're actually helping people. Now, I have a
Mm-hmm.
very strong conviction in life. This is basically a rule of mine that the only way that a person can really find joy in their life is helping other people. It's kind of a universal truth. So if you can tie that back, you will be amazed at the hoops that people will jump through to actually help people. We have our kind of a slogan or a mantra for each department, and our support department's mantra is "We have time for you." So it's kind of a play on the time
Oh,
thing, time tracking, but it also is realistic. We will spend an hour on the phone if we need with you. It's and from a management like leadership position, we do not mandate. A lot of managers, if you will, dictate time to resolution, time on the phone. Oh, of course, you want people's resolution to be fast, but they will say if you're on the phone for more than X minutes, get off.
mm-hmm.
But we don't do that. If it takes, if it doesn't matter if you're a small account, you're paying us a few bucks a month. We'll spend an hour on the phone with you. It doesn't
Sure.
matter. Another really cool thing we do is in our monthly all hands, one of the sections, we have feedback from the customers. And it's great to see our customers actually talking about, Alicia helped me the other day. She is so awesome. She deserves a raise. And they're talking specifically about individual people at work. And that's just awesome. I love it. So that's how you
Yeah.
create that culture. Yeah.
That's incredible. You know, it's
Hmm.
interesting to say that because we with the call answering world, we have to tell agents if you're on the phone for a given time frame for this client. Past that, somebody's just talking about their cats or something, so you got to get them off the line. They just needed a friend. So I suppose it's different areas of what you're taking care of people for.
Well,
From
yeah. I mean, if the conversation starts drifting and it is getting off into something that is not productive, of course, we don't, or
cut
if the
them off.
conversation gets heated too much, there's been times
Oh,
where I've taken a call that people have gotten real heated about, and I'll jump in to settle things down. Not too often, but on occasion that's happened. So
no, if you got 18,000 clients, sooner or later one of them's going to be pissed.
it's bound to happen. Everybody has bad
Maybe
days.
maybe not even from something you did, but they just had a bad day and you were the whatever your email showed up in their inbox and they
Oh,
wanted to use Dean as a punching
totally.
bag.
Yeah. We actually, there's a few of our partners that we work with. They're not associated with us directly, but some of the payroll partners, we do time tracking. So what's directly after time is payroll. We also do payroll now too, so that's super exciting. But we still have customers that are with other payroll solutions. We've gotten so good that we can actually answer our partners' questions for them. So there's times
Wow.
where they actually call us to talk about, X payroll company, and we can sometimes give them the answer. So we're actually supporting other companies sometimes, but whatever. As long as people get their solution, we're good.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Tell me about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
payroll side because that's a huge undertaking.
yeah. Payroll is a huge part, right? Every single company has it, and in my opinion, it's if not it's definitely one of the most important things, right? People got to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So payroll can be approached in a couple different ways. We know that our customers all do payroll right after they track time. That's one of the primary reasons you track
The
time, so
whole
you can
point of
pay
tracking the
people.
time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what's come up in the last 4 or 5 years are what's called embedded payroll solutions, kind of like a white label, like an extreme white label, to where we can leverage a company's a partner's payroll system, bring it right into our product through APIs and webhooks and different technologies, to where you don't have to go to another system to run your payroll. You can collect your time, review your time, schedule your people, and then just click the button and the paychecks go out. So we brought it all under one hood. And like I said, it is a huge undertaking. But we leveraged the skill set and the expertise of a partner for that, because that's their job. That's all they do is payroll, and it's been a great relationship. And at this point, our customers are loving that as well. We've had really good response with the payroll.
Gotcha. And you're doing payroll for all 50 states. Is that correct?
We are correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
from a guy that's had to deal with employees in multiple states. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah.
What a pain. What a
Yeah.
pain. So
And
yeah, kudos
payroll
to
is
you.
even more sensitive because there's all sorts of different tax laws, and the particular county you live in a state may have some particular labor law that has to be accommodated in the payroll system. So, there's probably tens, if not hundreds of thousands of different scenarios that they have to, from a payroll and time perspective, manage. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's very complicated, and you do
that
not
is.
want a newbie running payroll.
No, no, goodness
No,
no.
God no.
Tell me, where do you project the business going over the course of the next, let's call it 5 years?
5 years, yeah. So we are continuing to add more and more features. We really listen to our customer. Customer has a lot of input, but from a product standpoint, I have a product team. I'm actually product director as well as CEO. So myself, Steve, and Samantha, we're a small product team, but we listen to the customer. But one of our jobs is to see in the future, right? So we need to understand what our customer is going to want 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. we call it our intuition, right? So we listen to the customer, we look at the industry, we look at competitors too. We take a full 360 view on this, but we rely real heavily on our intuition. And we just continue to build the features that our customers want, hopefully even before they know they need it. So we're continuing to build out our scheduling system, continuing to improve our time tracking, continuing to improve our payroll function. And we're bringing on what we call HR Lite. So HR Lite is like your human resource type functions. But what we're doing is we're looking to find roughly the top 5 to 7 HR type features that our type of customer, SMBs, really need, and build those right into the product. So you don't have to bounce from one system to another. SaaS sprawl, they call it. You're a business owner. You probably have dozens, maybe hundreds of logins, right? To the bank and to this system and to that system. So our aim is to centralize the most of your people type operations, or quote unquote HR type operations, into one system and have it all right there, and really just be the solution, the people solution that your company needs.
Nice. That is very cool. Dean,
super
where
excited.
well, I imagine so. That's so wait. That's coming up, you said, right?
Yeah, those are, well, we have them built in now, but we're continuing to build. We have about a 2 to 3 year plan where we're going to be bringing all of those HR type features into our product. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're talking employee handbook and I suppose some conversations that to the point that you
like
have
employee handbook, ATS, applicant tracking, onboarding, employee directories, one-on-ones, annual reviews, compensation updates, messaging between the team, those types of things.
Right on.
Yeah.
For the clients that you work with or have tried to sell to, what are some of the common mistakes that you see them making in the payroll and timekeeping world?
Yeah. So a lot of times what we find, time tracking, payroll, all of those things are very complicated things to do. One of the most common mistakes we see people do is they try to do it themselves, like with a spreadsheet. So
you're talking
that's like
Excel?
That doesn't work. And it might work for 1 or 2 people, but if your business grows and you end up, like most businesses do, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 people, and you're still trying to use spreadsheets and not use a system. We've seen it. It's crazy. That ends up in a really bad place. For one, you don't have audit logs for history. You don't have compliance. You don't have transparency a lot of times. So you lack all of these modern features where, you choose a system like us and like everything's right here in your phone, So, that's probably the biggest mistake, is they're either choosing the wrong system, not choosing a system at all, or they're trying to like leverage a spreadsheet or a Word doc or a Google doc to run their business. And that never turns out well.
No. I remember meeting with a business owner. This was years ago, probably 15, 20 years ago. And he did not have a computer on his desk. No. He didn't have a spot to put a laptop. And this was before main smartphones. I mean, there were Blackberries and stuff like that. I'm trying to think what was before. Palm Pilots, maybe?
Oh, yeah, Palm Pilots. I remember those.
I'm meeting with this guy, trying to sell him on a different business, and one of his employees comes in. The employee's like, "Hey, boss, I was shy $100 on my check last week." And he's like, "Oh, that's weird." And he goes to this filing cabinet, and he pulls out this manila folder, and he goes, and he has handwritten their hours.
Oh.
And then he does some little calculations on his calculator, and he's like, "You're right." And then he cuts her a physical check, and
right
he hands
there,
it to her. And there was no documentation shy of the carbon copy of that check. It didn't go into any system anywhere. Oh. And then he just tucks the manila folder in the file cabinet. Away you go. And I was like, "Man, how many employees do you have?" And he's like, "I think we're at 60.
Oh.
I'm like, wow. Oh my gosh, if this place ever burns down, you are screwed.
Yeah, that's actually really dangerous territory. I mean, you could be tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines and such.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll applaud the person for fixing the situation on the spot. That's great.
Totally.
But,
Totally.
not having record of that and not having, you can have a DOL investigation and that could cost tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Close up
it
shop,
could
man.
be, back fines and fees and, error, correcting of errors and such. Yeah, that's scary, scary business. And actually, a lot of times we find people like the guy or lady you were just talking about, when they hit an event like that, guess what they do? They go to their Google and they start searching, payroll systems for small business. That's a lot of times when they start coming to us when an event like that happens. So, yeah.
It's so interesting how that pain has to show up for somebody to actually realize that they have a problem. Instead of anticipating, they're reacting, which in the end, they're solving it. So life goes on. It's all good. But we find the same situation. People come to us. You are often when the pain gets so great that they have to make a change. There's no longer I can get by with this kind of thing. So
Interesting. So I talk to a lot of the business owners. There's this email that that goes out from me. It's not from me directly, but it's my words and everything. Every time an account signs up with us, and I get the replies from those directly to my inbox. And I a lot of times will talk to these customers, and a lot of times it's exactly what it was. They just ran into an event. What you're talking about is an event. They just realized that, their sister-in-law, who's been working for them for 10 years, has been adding 10 hours onto every pay run for the last 10 years. Or they found that they were underpaying their employees for 5 years, or their scheduling was not right and people haven't been showing up on time. All these different things, these events that happen, and that's probably 50% of the cases, James. It's like they run into this big emergency situation. But yeah, to your point, what if we just thought about this in advance, got a system in place so we don't end up at that emergency event,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anticipate, man. Don't react.
Yeah.
Problems will find you either way, but
reactivity is not a good thing in business. I mean, only when needed, of course, but
correct. Yeah. The random pandemics and things like that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Dean, where can people find you?
Probably the easiest thing is LinkedIn. So search my name, Dean Mathews, Mathews, 1T. I think I'm probably one of the first ones that'll pop up. Look for On the Clock. We're on there as well. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Right on. And what's the website?
LinkedIn. I'm just saying LinkedIn.
Oh, right. What is
our
On the Clock
Our website is, yes, it's ontheclock.com.
All right. Super easy. That's
ontheclock.com. Yep.
Good domain to have, right?
Oh yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, I paid $300 for that.
Nice. Way back when. That's cool.
Actually, I think I negotiated down to $250 is what we paid. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Well, the best $250 I ever spent.
Yeah, fair. I love it. This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. My name is James Kademan, and Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call, offering call answering and reception services for service businesses across the country on the web at callsoncall.com. And of course, the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur in all of us, available wherever fine books are sold. If you're listening or watching this on the web, if you could do us a huge favor, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe, and of course, share it with your entrepreneurial friends, especially those friends that have some employees that need to do the punch in, the punch out, and the payroll. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guest, Dean Mathews from On the Clock. Dean, can you tell us that website one more time?
Our website is ontheclock.com, all one word. And you can find me on LinkedIn. And I will say, James, any listeners out there, I've listened to a few of your episodes and they're great. So anybody that's listening to this one, click that subscribe button and register to the Authentic Business Podcast. Did I get the name right?
Authentic Business Adventures. You got it.
Adventure. I'm sorry. Yes. So yeah, please register. There are actually some really good topics out there. I really like the one, I think it was 1 or 2 ago, on writing, being an author. So that was great.
Yeah, that was super cool. Yeah, it's interesting. We try to get some incredible entrepreneurs on the show, yourself included. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you much, James. Appreciate it.
Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night at the podcast link found at drawIncustomers.com. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.